It's affectionately called the City Game. The Jordan Brand Classic has been a launching pad for a ton of basketball luminaries throughout the years. The list of former participants reads like a who's who of the basketball universe. The question, though, tonight is, who could possibly be next?
His way inside. In transition, Parker with a stick back. Wiggins strong to the rim to lay it in. The nation's #1 player goes coast to coast.
And a look live at the #1 prospect of the class of 2013, Andrew Wiggins of Huntington Prep in West Virginia. Still has not made his selection as to which college he will attend come this fall. Welcome to the 2013 Jordan Brand Classic from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. And tonight, a lot of curious minds get a chance to see some of the best players at their age in the planet. It's East versus West in the 12th edition of this classic. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, courtside, along with Jimmy Dykes and Paul Biancardi. Guys, we've got 22 of the most talented players, 18 years around that age, Paul Biancardi, on the court today. You followed these guys for a number of years. What's the one thing that jumps out at you?
Well, there's plenty of star power in this game, including all top 10 players in the ESPN 100. This game has always had great players. Some have went on to be the #1 pick in the draft. That will happen again with Andrew Wiggins. This game has versatility, skill, and athleticism. That's what makes this group special. That will make this game exciting, Jimmy.
We're going to be saying the words recruiting class a lot tonight. Of course, the Big Blue Nation recruiting class looking pretty impressive, too.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that 6 guys in this ballgame tonight are headed to Lexington to play for John Calipari next year. On paper, you look at the ranking numbers, this is potentially the #1 recruiting class in the history of college basketball that Calipari is assembling. You take into consideration the #1 point guard, Andrew Harrison, the #1 shooting guard, Aaron Harrison, the #1 power forward, Julius Randle, and the #1 center in this class, Dakari Johnson, all headed to the Big Blue Nation. And remember, Andrew Wiggins, the #1 player overall, has Kentucky as one of his Final Four. We're looking at something special in the making next year for Kentucky, and we'll see it on display tonight.
And speaking of Wiggins, let's take a look at our one-on-one and an interesting matchup of sorts tonight with Andrew Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins, the #1 player in the nation. His athletic ability is uncommon. He owns a tremendous vertical jump and a tremendous second jump. He scores the ball best in the lane and at the foul line.
Well, for Jabari Parker, this is the only guy to ever win Illinois Mr. Basketball 2 times in his career. 4 straight state titles, a matchup nightmare at 6'8", can score from all over the floor. Energy, urgency, takes the game serious. I love Jabari Parker.
Right now, let's go courtside to Quinn Kessenich.
Guys, you spend time with Andrew Wiggins, and right away you realize he's just a different type of kid. He's really shy and really humble. Moments ago, he told me he's in absolutely no rush to make a decision. He's going to make a decision on his own time frame. So 3 things stand out: style of play, the ability to win a title, and the relationship that he will forge with the staff and his teammates. He's been very low profile this week, kind of sifting through the interviews. The repetitive nature. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? He's handled them pretty well. When the announcement comes, I don't expect a big press conference. I think he'll just probably tweet it out, guys. Mark?
We'll be looking for it, as will a lot of other guys. Let's take a look, first of all, at the West starting lineup. Nigel Williams-Goss headed to Washington. Matt Jones to Duke. Parker to Duke. As mentioned, Aaron Gordon has been impressive this week in workouts. And Embiid from Kansas. Jimmy coming off the bench for this crew. Who do you look out for?
Well, you know what? I like Casey Hill, the point guard going to Florida. Has terrific speed. He's always been a guy that can just blow by and make a play, and he will have a ton of assists in this ball game. Billy Donovan has a terrific little point guard heading his way.
Let's take a look at the starting rosters now for the East. Tyler Ennis out of New Jersey, headed to Syracuse. Harrison, Kentucky. Andrew, one half of the Harrison twins. Wiggins, Randall, and Chris Walker headed to Florida. Paul, what do you make of the reserves?
Keep your eye on Wayne Selden, a terrific two-way player. He owns a college-ready body. The skills to score the basketball. I love his mindset to defend. He's headed to Kansas to play for Bill Self.
And we are ready to play here. And we're underway. That's the East with possession. On the wing, it's Wiggins, goes right at Parker. It'll be the matchup to watch. Ennis on the baseline. Harrison on the drive. That's Andrew Harrison, his brother Aaron, the shooting guard. Ennis with a nice feed inside to Chris Walker, and he had a shot partially blocked.
I'm going to say that's the most passes we will have in a possession the entire ball game. I think there were 6. We will not go beyond that mark the next 39 minutes of this game.
Pretty deep into the shot clock. Ennis with the stick back, and that's how you follow it up. Chris Walker has been active, guys, for the last couple of days, especially in workouts.
He caught my eye the first 5 minutes of practice yesterday. A bouncy kid at 6'10", now 220 pounds, heading to Florida. Love, if you could just make it, guy, body-wise as a basketball player, it's 32 in black.
He's making his mark in the SEC next year. Here's Walker. Back out to Wiggins. They're playing a little two-man game. Harrison on the drive.
Andrew Harrison loves to get a piece of the paint on his drive. He's not going to stay outside and settle.
What do you make of the East team, Paul, playing two-point guards to start things off with Andrew Harrison and Tyler Ennis as the miss comes from Jabari Parker on his first attempt?
Maybe they're going to run a 2-guard set, Jim. You know, some shuffle cutting tonight with the 2 guards. That's why they're on top. I just think it's a way to get guys in the flow, and I wouldn't put much into it, but Chris Walker headed to Florida. Watch his athleticism at the rim. A quick jumper, a quick big man. Him and Casey Hill. Tremendous tandem going to Florida.
Yeah, he's got this kid's got a motor, and you know that's the first thing I'd check on for a kid 6'10", 6'11". Is he a self-starter? And Walker fits that mold.
Harrison throws up the lob for Walker, who converts it. And Walker active, 4 points to start things off.
And that's what Andrew Harrison does so well. The penetration to the paint, the ability to score a find.
Williams-Goss. For Finley Prep, his team losing in the finals of the National High School Invitational recently. Here's Wiggins on the drive. Got a little get back and one. Andrew Wiggins will go to the free throw line. Well, if you're just tuning in and don't already know, Andrew Wiggins' father, Mitch Wiggins, played in the NBA. Mom was an Olympic runner for Canada, a 400-meter runner. And he is still undecided as to where he will attend school. Amongst the schools, Florida State, Paul, Jimmy, North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky. Walker with the rebound off the miss.
You know, it's interesting, these teams have not gone head-to-head this week in practice. They have split up their own East and West teams, so this is the first time for them to be going at each other. Expect a competitive game.
Walker makes his way to the bucket. A nice move by Embiid.
Talking about Andrew Wiggins and his time commitment. He's in no hurry at all. I think he's going to wait to see after the NBA entry of April 28th to see who's going to be in the draft and who he can play with next year. I think winning to him is very important. He wants to know who's going to be on the team with him.
Jabari Parker got him with the step back, and Wiggins with a nice block.
There's that vertical we talked about, uncommon.
Quick jump ball, as you said. There's Parker. No doubt about that one for Jabari Parker, the #2 prospect in 2013.
You know, Parker has a complete game as well. I think he's got terrific lift and explosion into his jump shot. He's a serious kid, very mature about how he handles himself on and off the floor.
Wiggins with the miss, and here comes Williams-Goss. To Jones, and Jones misses. Matt Jones out of DeSoto, Texas. Headed to Duke. And a nice block by Joel Embiid.
Julius Randle has some power. Joel Embiid has a block.
And Williams-Goss with the floater. And the West cuts it down to a 2-point lead. The big guys going hard up top.
That might be the first time for Julius Randle to have his stuff thrown back at the rim. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And Joel Embiid is ranked 28th in this class. He could be the sleeper of a draft in a couple of years, a young man going to Kansas that had that block.
No doubt about it, Jimmy.
Wow.
He'll make a splash as a freshman. He'll impact as a sophomore for Bill Self. He's a surprise guy in this game, no question about it. A lot of people have heard of Joel Embiid. Not a lot of people have seen him play.
Well, big guys balling hard, guys.
Introduction to Joel Embiid, courtesy of Julius Randle. Julius Randle is 6'9" and 225 and a power guy. And Joel Embiid, protecting the rim, says, not on me. This guy is a 7-footer. Bill Self told me yesterday, potentially is the best big guy he's ever had. That's quite a statement.
We've been playing basketball for about 3 years. When we come back, we ponder the big question about Wiggins. ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2013 Jordan Brand Classic is brought to you by Jordan. Dare to fly. Underway here in Brooklyn, New York, the East with a 4-point lead as we go courtside to Clinton.
I'm joined by Andrew Wiggins right now. First of all, Andrew, congratulations on being here. What's it been like this week in New York?
Oh, it's been great. Great experience. It's my first time down here in New York, so I'm trying to live it up and live for the moment.
What's going on in your mind right now?
Just trying to play hard and win this ball game.
What is it like? I'm not going to ask you about where you're going to go to school or anything like that, but what's it been like being like the last guy to be undecided and the amount of attention that's kind of bringing your way?
I don't mind. It keeps everyone on their feet. Everyone's watching too what I do, so I don't mind. It's just something I go through.
What are the big factors that you're weighing right now?
Pardon me?
What are the big factors that you're weighing?
I'm not just good coaching staff, good school, good facility, and people I can surround myself with.
What is the time frame?
No clue.
No clue. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Good luck.
Let's look at some of the strengths, of which there are many, with Andrew Wiggins. Athletic ability, scoring, and the upside potential, Paul.
He's blessed with sprinter speed, uncommon leaping ability. He has the best second jump in the game, and he uses that athletic ability on every offensive possession and defensively. When it comes to scoring, he's easy to find, but he's hard to stop. When you talk about potential, he's going to be the #1 pick in the NBA draft. I can't think of anybody else in this class that has more potential.
Paul, you've seen him more than me. I've seen him a couple of days now in practice, and just watching him the last 48 hours. The one question I have about him, is he an alpha dog? Does he want to dominate? Does he understand what it takes to be that guy every night?
Not right now.
Not yet, okay.
He wants to be a great scorer. He has to learn how to make his team win. He doesn't have that alpha dog mentality yet, but it's coming, Jimmy.
Like Carmelo Anthony does?
That's exactly right. But Wiggins is a big-time scorer, a great rebounder, and he has to learn how to make his team win as well.
Yep.
But he's on his way to that alpha dog mentality.
Had some great matchups over the last couple of years. The EYBL circuit and AAU basketball, with him and Jabari Parker going head-to-head. Nice move inside for the layup.
Noah Vonleh headed to Indiana.
Nice pass from Casey Hill, a point guard that has jet speed. One of his question marks, can he learn to slow down and play at different speeds other than 100 miles an hour and run a ball club?
Jefferson with the miss. And here's the aforementioned Hill. Of course, that's a good problem to have, right? Instead of having to get a guy that's not quick enough.
I think it is. I mean, you can always slow him down and teach him to slow down and play the game in that second and third gear, but you can't teach that burst. And that's what I love about, one of the things I love about Casey Hill.
I call him the creator because he does a great job of creating for others. He got the biggest assist in his high school career in the NHSI championship. 6 seconds to go, he drives the lane, penetration and find for a game-winning shot. That's what Casey Hill does.
Pretty much gets wherever he wants to on the floor. He'll be playing for Billy Donovan next year. And Jimmy, you and I and Paul had a chance to speak with him. He looks forward to the opportunity of playing against Scotty Wilbekin. And of course, they lose Kenny Boynton next year, so there'll be a spot there for him for some minutes.
Yeah, that's a Florida team. I think will start off somewhere in that top 6 or 7. At least they should. With Wilbekin, Patrick Young coming back. Where you get Casey Prather, Michael Frazier's a star ready to blossom down there at Florida.
Frazier's a great outside shooter.
Oh, my.
He should get a lot of looks next year with Casey Hill.
He's one of the guys that might be distributing the ball to him, Casey Hill, working against Jefferson. Tough move inside. Vonleh going after it and finishes up top again. Vonleh headed to Indiana next year. It's a 7'4" wingspan.
One thing Vonleh will give that 4 position at Indiana that Christian Whopper didn't always give. Instantly, this kid's a better rebounder. Vonleh going to play with Tom Crean. I think he's played with a lot of urgency this week. He and Troy Williams both, to me, look like guys that can really become lockdown defenders in that Big Ten.
Vonleh epitomizes this class, guys. His versatility, his skill and athleticism. Troy Williams, another great athlete, all fast twitch fibers. Look at Vonleh, he is relentless on the glass, and that's what he does best, Jimmy. It's the offensive glass. This guy's hungry for second chance points.
Well, you lose Zeller, you lose Watford, Oladipo. You need somebody that's going to come in and get you possessions, and that kid will.
And Williams fouled. He'll go to the line for 2. Folks, don't miss this week's NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC, a rematch of the game that ended Miami's historic win streak with LeBron James and the Heat taking on Carlos Boozer and the Bulls. Coverage tips off with Kia NBA Countdown at 12:30 Sunday on ABC. The Miami Heat have already clinched the overall best record in the NBA. They'll have home court throughout, and LeBron James having an incredibly productive season. Remember, he was a member of the East team in the 2003 edition of this game.
Can we go back to that?
34 points.
Yeah, but he was 13 out of 30 in the Jordan Brand game.
He got better, didn't he?
He missed 17 shots.
He got better, right?
How do you miss 17 shots in this game when no one's defending you? He hasn't missed 17 shots all year in the NBA this year.
When I watched him play in high school, the first thing that impressed me about LeBron James was his passing ability. He was a great passer in high school, and not a lot of people knew it because they all knew about his scoring ability.
Last basket for the East by Harrison. Here's Dakari Johnson. Gets it back out to Casey Hill, and Hill knocks down the 3. Is that one of the perceived weaknesses of his game, guys?
That is a perceived weakness. If he can make that shot, his whole game opens up. His whole world opens up, because now defenders have to come out, and then he can use the blow-by dribble to get to the rack.
I think he'll be able to kick in enough to have to play him honestly. And Florida needs another shooter to go along with Frazier. Wilbekin maybe can become that guy. You get Wilbekin and Hill and Frazier all 3 knocking down a high percentage. Florida could be a Final Four team next year.
And one of the reasons Casey Hill is not a good shooter, because he can always get to the rim. Exactly. When you get to the rim as easy and as quick as he does, you don't work on your outside shooting enough in a game.
Gets a screen from his high school teammate, Dakari Johnson, with him just winning the NHSI. Johnson inside, pulling his way to the bucket. And he cashes in with a pair. He's almost a rarity in this game, and kind of more of a traditional 5-man, or the closest thing to it in this one.
I think he's one of them. I mean, this is a guy in his high school career, Paul, that has just carved out space and overpowered people. His next progression, going against equal-sized defenders, what is his go-to shot? I think that's something that Calipari will quickly give this guy.
You know, he has a jump hook. He's one of the most improved players in this senior class. He averaged 14 points, 14 rebounds, got the MVP in the NHSI championship. He's come a long way. Offensively, he was really raw.
James Young fouled on the play. There's a look at the top 5 men. Johnson, how does he match up with the guys ranked below him right now?
Well, right now, he's the most productive center in high school basketball. Joel Embiid, he has the most potential. And a guy you want to keep an eye on, fellas, Eric Meeker, 6'10", going to BYU.
Yeah.
Bouncy, skilled. We're going to hear a lot about him next year in college basketball. I think he is a very good low-post center.
Well, the big cheer you hear right now courtside as Drake has just entered the building. A lot of celebrities on hand to watch these young ballers.
I thought they just now recognized Mark Jones went over here.
Oh, you didn't hear I'm opening up for him tonight, did you?
We are.
And you'll be closing for him, too.
Here's Harrison looking inside. Jefferson, little 2-man game. Portis got ripped. Boy, Casey Hill all over the court tonight. That's a nice dime inside for the bucket.
He's got a burst and he's got lift. He's got a great feel. Talking about Casey Hill, the smallest guy on the floor tonight at 6 foot. Everybody else is 6'3" or taller. No problem finding vision right now inside that paint.
Selden gets stripped. Casey Hill looking for his second jumper. Young with the steal. Vonleh went for the crank and missed it. nice move in transition that time by Iverson. Ron Iverson. The name sounds familiar. Young man who's going to Memphis. He's a cousin of Allen Iverson.
Josh Pastner has the #2 ranked recruiting class this year behind Kentucky. He's got all 5 guys that he signed can score, and all 5 guys can play multiple positions. Talking to him earlier today. And think about this: Memphis next year has 3 guards: Joe Jackson, Jerron Johnson, and Chris Crawford, that will all be seniors. Keep an eye on Memphis next year.
Ron Iverson could be a go-to guy in the future, no question about it.
Hey, we told you, celebrities in the house tonight, not just one MJ, but the real MJ, that one, Michael Jordan. Carmelo Anthony, the New York Knicks, and the suddenly red-hot New York Knicks here, and Amari Stoudemire, who will be returning to the court probably after the first round of the playoffs, in attendance as well. Back with more after this. Drake in the building with the West leading by 6, and he's going to be doing a show here immediately following the game. And in the theme of his famous song, Best I Ever Had, some best here that's played in this game. 2011, Anthony Davis, and Austin Rivers, now with the Hornets. Anthony Davis had his fair share, guys, after a big growth spurt that year, right? I mean, or the year before, right, Paul?
He was 6'3" in high school, and then he grew. Had the guard skills and a power forward's body.
James Michael McAdoo led the East team with 26 points and added 14 rebounds. He and Davis were named co-MVPs of that game. And look at some other all-time scoring leaders. Jimmy Dykes not that impressed with LeBron's 34 on 30 field goal attempts.
I'm impressed with 34, but he missed 17 shots in an all-star game. Yeah.
And he's shooting 56% this year, though, so he's made up for it.
He did overcome it and went on to have a pretty nice career. I want to add that on there as well.
Can't use this game to evaluate, fellas.
And Carmelo Anthony on that list as well. One of the hottest players, the hottest player, pardon me, in the NBA right now, and right now the NBA scoring leader.
One of the things I enjoy about doing this game every year, come to New York, make sure I stay up to speed on all the fashion going on. On next, I'll be wearing one of those hats like Carmelo.
Hey, man.
Huh?
Got to keep
nice
up.
Lid, absolutely.
And Carmelo's looking at Tyler Ennis right now, his future Syracuse player right there in the black. Number 11 for the East, heading to Syracuse, covering the ball.
Williams-Goss trying to shake loose. Ennis got caught on the switch, and a nice block. These bigs really going after it. Looks like Chris Walker with the block, getting up a little bit slowly.
How about the pass by Nigel Williams-Goss to recognize the switch and throw it right inside quickly?
There are folks that have covered high school ball this year that think this guy with the basketball, Nigel Williams-Goss, is the best point guard in the class.
Pass out of bounds, turnover. That's the first turnover of the game for the West. Your thoughts, Paul?
It's close.
It's close.
I'm still going to go with Andrew Harrison
because
of some physical abilities.
Yeah.
But if I need a guy one night for one game, Nigel Williams-Goss is the best leader in all of high school basketball.
How about that? And he was not a great three-point shooter, I don't think, throughout his high school career. Knowing that he was going to be in the McDonald's three-point contest for a month, he shot balls off the rack. What did he do? Won the McDonald's three-point shooting contest. Tells you how the guy's wired.
Good work ethic. The foul called on the play, and Williams-Goss has made some very timely shots too, hasn't he, Paul, through the high school season? He's made some big buckets for his team, Findlay Prep, right?
He's the owner of 2 game-winning shots. I mean, both against Mount Verde. One was for a championship. 0 in the red. He's going to play for Lorenzo Romar in Washington.
And think about this. You know what his #2 choice was? And he told me today it was a very difficult choice. Harvard. Wow. To play for Tommy Emmerich. The kid's a 4.0 grade point average. Vocal leader, one of the most talkative guys the last 2 days. Lorenzo Romar, you have a terrific player heading your way.
As a matter of fact, he didn't go to practice on Thursday, and when he showed up on Friday, the coaches made mention to me on what he brought to practice, the vocalness, the leadership, the communication. The Red had a great practice on Friday because of Nigel Williams-Goss.
Off Kennedy meets his free throw. It's a 5-point ball game. Here in the first half, going to play 2 20s. Williams-Goss with the floater gets it to go.
To follow up your point, Paul, if your team doesn't look different when your point guard's not on the floor, you need another point guard. When your point guard leaves the floor, your team should look different, and that is the case for the Red team this week.
Well, Wiggins with a baseline jam.
Okay, all right.
The thing about Andrew Wiggins, you know where he's going to score the ball from, but you still can't stop him. A shot chart will show you it's all inside the paint, but he does it in different ways.
Lee missing inside. Meeks with the rebound, and here come the East. He's down by 5. Tyler Ennis left open for 3. And he knocks it down. He's playing with a sore shoulder, but Jim Boeheim feeling pretty good about that range.
Should feel real good. Jimmy, if you think Nigel Williams-Goss is one of the top point guards, I'm putting Tyler Ennis in the top 3. Guy has no wasted motion, deceptive speed, can make outside shots, and a fantastic playmaker.
And once again, Jim Boeheim targets a bigger point guard. He's a full 6'2", if not close to 6'3", for the top of that zone.
Nice pass out of the double team. Walker inside, showing some skills.
He got trapped on a ball screen, picks it up with poise, finds the open man.
The quickness of Chris Walker is very, very impressive for a guy his size and how quickly he gets from off the floor to above the rim.
Now, guys, at the other end of the spectrum, Meeks losing the ball, and Walker gets it in transition for another easy bucket, and the dunk fest has begun in earnest. Little transition defense, but guys, let's get back to Kennedy Meeks, who made a free throw a little bit ago and subsequently turned it over on the last possession. Your thoughts on his game? He's headed to play for Roy Williams in North Carolina.
He has the best hands in all of high school basketball. Strong hands to catch it, soft hands to score it, tremendous outlet passer. He accomplished most of his stuff below the rim. He's a below the rim guy, Jimmy. He carves out space. He's just got to get physically committed to the game.
And Jabari Parker drives by Wiggins. Matchup with the number 1 and number 2 players.
Jonesy, Kennedy Meeks is 6'9" and probably 285 or 90 pounds. Now, he's playing in a transition system, a speed game at North Carolina. Like Paul said, the number 1 thing this young man has to do is stay in control of his condition. Terrific skill, but that body and that size, can he keep up with the pace that Roy Williams wants to play?
Or the type of pace that Chris Walker plays at right now. He has been ubiquitous tonight, from baseline to baseline, covering all 94 feet. They're starting to do the Gator chomp down in the swamp right now with number 32 jerseys. West leading by 4, 30-26. With 7:26 to go in the first half. Mark Jones, Jimmy Dykes, Paul Biancardi, Quinn Kesenick, and Chris Walker with 10 points on 5 of 7 from the field.
I'll tell you what I like about Chris Walker. He's grown into a guy that understands you have to play hard every possession. Hasn't always done it in his career. He now weighs 200 and about 20 pounds. And you look at his body, he's got room to put on another 20 and not lose his burst and his pop around the rim. I love the future of 32 in black.
Go courtside to Quinn Kesenick.
Joined by Nigel Williams-Goss. Paul Biancardi just said you're the best on-the-floor leader of this senior class. How would you best characterize your leadership abilities?
I just think it comes down to trying to win. I'm trying to win. I'm a point guard, so coach puts a lot of responsibility on me, and I just try to relay whatever the coach's message is to the team and give us the best chance to win.
What type of player is Washington getting?
A guy that comes in and competes every night, wants to win first, and is going to do whatever it takes to help our team win.
Thanks, Nigel.
Well, of course, from a very storied prep school, Finley Prep out in Nevada. Rick Freeman, a very talented shooting guard, going to UCLA. Paul, what about the rest of these guys?
Keep an eye on Stanford Robertson. Guy plays with high energy. Another athlete going to Bloomington to play for Tom Crean. And Gavin Schilling, a big, strong, physical power forward, going to play for a big, strong, physical coach in Tom Izzo.
Yeah, he is.
One of the indelible images of this guy here on the screen, Williams-Goss, was after that NHSI game where they lost. Well, he lay down on the court for a good 2-3 minutes, and you like a player who's very pained by defeat.
He cries when he loses. How many guys do that today, Jimmy? This kid is the ultimate competitor.
Not enough. And how many guys at his age can you ask? Like Quint, I thought it was a great question. What is Washington getting in you as a player? No hesitation. He nailed it exactly who he is. And if you don't know who you are, you certainly can't be that. And this kid has a lot of that leadership, toughness, inner strength that you love in that lead guard spot.
Harrison Block going to the basket.
Walked on that one. He wasn't even in the mix for the McDonald's All-American game to start the season. Played himself into a McDonald's All-American.
There you go. Get a look at the Harrisons in the backcourt, guys. Andrew, number 5, Aaron, 7, and I don't think the Twins get any more identical than those two. Jefferson, meanwhile, with a nice jumper.
Rondé Jefferson's going to be a great athlete for Sean Miller. Defensive player, versatile 4-man, doesn't really make jump shots, so that was a good sign.
We're talking about the Harrison twins a moment ago, guys. Two guys that have played basketball together since childhood and will continue to do so at Kentucky. Paul, how are they similar? How are they different?
I'm still trying to tell them apart on the screen right now. Andrew's the point guard, number 5 in the black.
That's a great start.
Distributor, playmaker. He can make jump shots, but he'll run the team for Kentucky and John Calipari. Nobody will have more pressure in college basketball next year as a freshman than Andrew Harrison. Aaron Harrison, he makes jump shots, threes. Shooting comes easy to Aaron Harrison.
Wilson a foul. Folks, the MLB on ESPN continues with Sunday Night Baseball at 8 as the Orioles square off against the Yankees. Then on Monday at 7, Phillies go up against the Reds. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell, and Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA. Getting back to the Harrison twins a little bit earlier, guys, today we had quite a situation at practice at shoot-around this morning because I'm going to guess it was Aaron that had a little food poisoning, and Andrew was wearing Aaron's practice jersey, and we really had no clue who was who.
And that brought me to the point that I was talking with John Calipari yesterday. Let's just go next year and say that Andrew Harrison has 20 points in the first half, but he also has 3 fouls.
Right.
And Aaron's not playing well.
Okay.
At halftime, you just switch the jerseys and send them back out. And now Andrew continues to get another 20 points in the second half, and he doesn't have any fouls to start the second half, and no one would know the difference unless you're on a DNA test.
Well, you planted the seed.
I'm just telling you. If you're a coach and you're out in front of things, those are things you think about.
You know, we talk about how talented these guys are. They won a 5A state championship in the state of Texas. These guys are winners, talented. They're going to come into Kentucky with a little bit of chip on their shoulder.
Jefferson cross court. Wide open for the jumper. Iverson off the mark. Here's Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon, guys, has been kind of conspicuous by his silence so far in this game. And it's not for a lack of activity. Going back to the McDonald's game, he was one of the more active guys winning the most outstanding player award.
Well, he got loose and got a lot of dunks in that ball game. That's the strength of this kid, Aaron Gordon. He is a beast, 15 feet and in, with explosion around the rim. 32 in red going to Arizona. There he is with the basketball.
0 for 4 so far. Defers on the pass. Back comes the East. They can tie the game here. Might have been just a little travel, but Iverson finishes.
You get 3 steps in this game.
Jabari Parker.
At the other end, Jabari Parker.
Parker will be playing for Coach K at Duke next year.
They have a tremendous recruiting class coming in there. Matt Jones was in this game. And let's not forget, they also have the transfer, Rodney Hood from Mississippi State, the lefty, 6'8". Coach K's class can all shoot the basketball. They'll be able to space the floor because that's what Coach K likes to do. Space the floor with shooters. Parker, Jones, Semi Ojeleye, Rodney Williams. A lot of scoring coming to Duke.
Whistling a foul called. Let's look at the top 10 recruiting classes, guys.
Well, it's amazing. Kentucky with 6 in the top 100. Already talked about Memphis's guys. Bill Self completely rebuilding his team at Kansas, heavy with freshmen next year. Tom Crean losing what he's doing with the Oladipo and Zeller, so his freshmen are going to have to play heavy minutes. And to follow up Paulie's point about Duke, you know, Suleiman, terrific, shoot the basketball. Rodney Hood, I saw at Mississippi State in the SEC a couple of years ago, is going to be a terrific pro. He has all the intangibles that sometimes you miss on in recruiting. We'll talk about that as this game goes on, but they lose a lot, but you just keep that thing rolling if you're Coach K with guys like Rodney Hood and Jabari Parker coming in.
And Matt Jones, who'll be playing for Duke, knocks down the second foul shot. One of the purest shooters in the class of 2013. 4-point lead for the West. Under 5 minutes to go here in the first half. Mark Jones courtside along with Jimmy Dykes, Paul Biancardi, and Quint Kesenick. They're in the 12th edition of the Jordan Brand Classic. Great block. There's Embiid again. Headed to Kansas.
That's his second great block tonight. First one was on Julius Randle.
Nice little spin move. Lost the handle, though. Back comes Jefferson. This is Andrew Harrison. Wide open the corner. Iverson off the mark.
Cozy, watching Andrew Harrison play live in this game for the first time. Very unique skill set, the fact that he's a legit 6'5", and he has very good control over his change of speed. A lot of big guys don't have that about him. Normally we say that about 6-footers and 5'11". This guy is 6'5", can go, stop, boom, and then go again in a whole nother gear.
You know what he does, Jimmy? He beats his man, and then he can read the help and make a play.
Yeah.
That's why he's going to be a fantastic distributor, and he's got so much talent around him next year at Kentucky. And he's a good on-ball defender. As you said, 6'5", 200-plus pounds. Tyreek Evans type body.
Yeah. The guys out of Richmond, Texas, turnover to come back the other way to the Harrison Twins in the East. A couple of guys that have spent a lot of time with former NBA star John Lucas working out in his gym down in H-Town. Back with more right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Barclays Center. West with a 4-point lead. Under 4 minutes to go here in the first half. A lot of jumpers without mini tramps needed on the court tonight, guys. A dynamic display so far early in the first half here.
That's part of the strength of this class, the versatility and the athleticism. There's also skill. These guys are 6'6" to 6'8". Going to make college basketball a very exciting game next year.
Well, first of all, they're all terrific athletes in this game. There's nobody out here that doesn't have, well above average foot speed and quickness off the floor. But Wiggins is so explosive. Randall is right there with him. Aaron Gordon, for me, pound for pound, inch for inch, might be the most explosive guy in this class. Troy Williams, terrific, going to Indiana. Chris Walker. I tell you who's caught my eye so far is Rondé Jefferson. 6'7", 210 pounds, going to Arizona. Potentially, he may be the best multiple position defender in this class. His foot speed, his length with his arms is very impressive.
Yeah, he's all elbows.
Yeah.
Right there in
right
arms.
There.
Plays the game with a high motor. I call him a switch defender. He can cover 1 through 5. In this game here, he's covered Casey Hill. He's covered Joel Embiid. That's a great call, Jimmy.
Yep.
Rondé Jefferson and Aaron Gordon going to be a pair of bookends of defenders for Sean Miller at Arizona.
Wiggins off the miss, and Randall cleans up the mess.
Now there's a guy with power, Julius Randle. When he stays inside the gate, I'd like to say, inside the 3-point line, he can dominate this game. He already has dominated this game at the high school level. He can dominate at Kentucky.
Troy Williams knocks down the jump shot. Indiana bound next year. Nephew of the legendary Boo Williams.
Troy Williams, 14 in the red. He's got all fast twitch fibers in his body.
A little similar to Oladipo when he was coming into Indiana. Known more as an athlete right now than a basketball player. But I tell you what, he snapped off that jump shot over here at that left wing and rose and did it well.
Here's a look at Julius Randle, guys. Last time denied going to the bucket by Embiid. Not this time off the Wiggins miss.
You know what he didn't do? He didn't dance with the ball out there on the perimeter. He got inside and became a power guy, but he can drive equal-handed right or left. But Paul's watched him all season long. You get that guy down on the block and let his power take over. That's where he's at his best.
Member of the USA Basketball Under-18 team last year that won gold.
And he's the only player on this floor to play under 18. They've all played under 17. So physically imposing, they wanted him on the under 18 team.
Great point. Meeks with the tough turnaround. Not sure that he called it, but he'll take it.
Just soft hands to score the basketball. His ability to throw an outlet pass is the best in this class. As he gets physically committed to his body, he'll be able to help Roy Williams in North Carolina. They have a great front court with Bryce Johnson, Joel James, Isaiah Hicks, a young, talented front court at North Carolina next year.
Casey Hill goes inside. Embiid. I mentioned that Embiid's only been playing basketball for 4 years. This is his first exposure to it when he attended an NBA Basketball Without Borders program. Off the miss, back comes Wiggins, could be showtime. And he defers, and that's a pretty good deferral to Randall.
And the outlet from Kennedy Meeks.
Julius Randle, wow, at 6'9", 230. The speed that he ran, rim to rim.
Great anticipation, knocked it away. 1-point ball game. West with the lead. Here's Casey Hill. Hill with the floater. Embiid knocked it out and bounds. And here's that Selden. Wayne Selden went over the table.
Julius Randle. I mean, he's all power and explosion. When he keeps his game inside the paint, whether it's shooting, transition, or rebounding, it's hard to stop this guy.
He's got the body of a future pro. And A lot of times you talk about this guy's going to be a pro someday, and that guy's got a chance to be a pro. And then a pro walks in the building like Amari Stoudemire, and you realize that's what you're supposed to look like. And Julius Randle kind of has that look about him as a future NBA 4 guy.
There's that combination of athleticism, size, and skill.
Yeah.
You just don't find that at 6'9". Look at that outlet pass.
Yeah. All
Shades
the way
of
to
West,
the guy down there with the camera.
Shades of Wes Unseld.
I'm just messing with you.
A little bit long. Amari Stoudemire right now healing from an injury. Should be back, as I mentioned, around the end of the first round of the playoffs. For the suddenly hot New York Knicks. Long jumper. It's good.
Now this guy's a natural scorer. One in the red going to Kentucky, James Young. Scores the ball in a lot of different ways. The jump shot, the pull-up, and the drive.
Selden with the perimeter jumper. And Casey Hill in a rush, 3-on-2. Out of bounds off of Meeks. It'll stay West basketball. Well, don't forget, coming up on the halftime report, Tiger Woods of the Masters, and a strange day for him. Boy, bad news out of the NBA last night. Kobe Bryant rupturing his Achilles tendon. And Trey Burke is going to enter the NBA draft. Floater is good by Bakari Johnson.
How crazy is it that someone can be watching golf on TV and then call in and say, hey, Tiger Woods.
It's interactive.
No, that interactive, that's crazy. First of all, what number do you dial? Is it like a number that you know that you dial to say, hey, I think Tiger Woods just had an illegal drop? That was my first thought on the whole thing.
Meeks inside. That's a great point. Hey, I'm going to call in that block that was really a charge earlier in this game. Ennis with the steal. It'll count. And that's the end of the first half of play. The West with a 4-point lead, 42-38. And it was Chris Walker that set the tone early in this game for the East team. 6'10" out of Florida, headed to play for Billy Donovan and the Gators next year.
Jonesy, the guy's got life in his body. He's alert, he's active. He's a wired guy in the right way. And wired guys with energy at 6'10" are going to put up points in a game like this.
That's the end of the first half of play. An intriguing second half to come. Right now we're going to head to the studio for the halftime report right after these messages. Stick around. Welcome back, everyone, to the Barclays Center. The 2013 Jordan Brand Classic. Going to look at some of the constellation of stars that have played in this game in the past. And last year down at Time Warner Cable Arena in Charlotte, it was Shabazz Muhammad stealing the show. And he would subsequently make his way to Westwood and play at UCLA. A look at the score at halftime. The West leading 42-38 as we get ready for the next 20 minutes. And this year has seen its share of exciting plays. And Paul, I'll start with you. Your impressions of the first half.
You know, it hasn't been sloppy, and the guys have played hard. I think we've seen the strength of the class in this game. The versatility, the athletic ability at the rim, and the size and the skill, Jimmy. It's been very good so far. Yeah,
the East team has given up 42 points. I think they'll go to their matchup zone in the second half and kind of pack it in. Just kidding.
Full court press.
Yeah, I like the passing ability of Casey Hill and Harrison going to Kentucky. Both those guys have 5 and 4 assists. They play with a very nice pace, which is not easy to do in an all-star game. They haven't been playing too fast. A lot of times a young point guard will do that in this situation.
One of the anticipated matchups coming into this game tonight, Wiggins against Parker. Paul, what do you make of that so far?
Really, it's been a wash. But the guy who's really impressed, I think all of us, is Chris Walker going to Florida. He's hustled. He's played at the rim using his athletic ability, finishing plays, hunting down rebounds. He's going to be terrific at Florida.
And Joel Embiid has had some major blocks. His play on Julius Randle 2 or 3 minutes in the ball game, that has never happened to Randle before in his career because he had it cocked right at 6'9", 230, and Joel said, not on me. And this is a kid right now ranked about 28th, I think, in the recruiting class.
He's going up, though, Jimmy. He's going
up. And I think in a couple of years, after under Bill Self for 2 years, this is a kid that can become not only a lottery pick, but a top 3 or 4 pick.
Well, let's take a look at some of the cogent numbers from the first 20 minutes of play. Nigel Williams-Goss and Troy Williams with 6 apiece, headed to Washington and Indiana, respectively. Walker leading the way, the game's high scorer with 10 points. Tyler Ennis with 5. He's headed to Syracuse. Walker to Florida. As we mentioned, guys, somebody kind of conspicuous by his lack of scoring so far, although has one of the best motors amongst the 22 players here is Aaron Gordon. Well, what do you expect of him in the second half, Jimmy?
Well, Aaron Gordon depends on a point guard getting him in the open floor and letting him take over 15 feet it in. He's a monster dunker right now that really can't create his own offense, so he's relying on the offense to open up for him with a true passing point guard. He's got to get loose in this game.
Let's go courtside to Quinn. Quinn?
Oh, Embiid. Joel, a couple blocks. How do you best describe your defensive performance?
Just gotta go up, straight up, and block the shot. That's a secret.
What was your reaction when you found out you made this team?
I was so happy because it's like the McDonald's American, all the best players in the United States are there, so I was so happy.
How would you best characterize your improvement over the last year?
I mean, it just works. Like, I was working, I'm still working. I'm working every day, every time, every day. Yeah.
Thanks, Joel. Mark.
For a young man that watches video of Hakeem Olajuwon, he tells me a lot. To get better, certainly a great role model. Walker making his own video highlights. Back with more after this.
The faster you go, that's why where I come from, the only thing we know is
2013 Jordan Brand Classic from the Barclays Center, just off of Flatbush in Brooklyn. They put West leading the East 42-38 as we get ready to get this run underway in the second half. First, a look back at the first half. Williams Goss, guys, getting things going with a nice floater for the West.
He has that type of ability to make open shots, find his teammates, and he understands when the defense is at the rim, he's got to take a floater.
And Chris Walker making a mark in the paint. Both facing up and with his back to the basket, Jimmy.
Yeah, he shows nice patience. Embiid makes mistakes, tries to reach from behind. Walker reads the mistake and punches it at the rim. The guy's got a lot of pop in his legs.
Chris Walker's going to be playing for Billy Donovan at the University of Florida this year. Williams Goss headed to Washington to play for Lorenzo Romar. You know, what about that? He said that Harvard was his #2 pick. You got both ends of the kind of spectrum and a lot of the world covered when you look at East Coast, West Coast, and academically to be considering Harvard.
And he was a one-time commit to UNLV when he was at Finley Prep, and then he decommitted. So that's really different ends of the spectrum.
Underway, Williams Goss looking inside to Aaron Gordon, and Gordon stepped out of bounds.
It'll be East basketball.
Guys, Gordon got hit earlier in the game. I think he got hit in the eye and been slowed down a little bit because of that.
It looks like the left eye might be swollen a little bit.
Yeah. That might account for why he's been off a little bit. Harrison knocks down the three. That's Andrew Harrison.
Finally, the East team makes a three-point shot. They were 1 out of 13 in the first half.
Well, great defense by Jefferson. Rondé Jefferson tying up Aaron Gordon.
I'm telling you, that is my defensive player in this game, Rondé Jefferson. He has the potential to be a Pac-12 defensive stopper. I could see him covering anything from the point guard to the 4 position. He is built to get after you defensively.
That's what's going to look like. That's what's going to look like in practice next year at Arizona. Those two.
Yeah, and they're going to have a huge squad. How about Brandon Ashley, 6'11", Caleb Tarzuski, a 7-footer. Sean Miller better be working on his zone offense, because that's what I'd play against in some zone. You can't play man against that size.
They will be better, Arizona, I think, at that in terms of the true point guard spot. Lions handled it this year, but the McConnell kid that transferred to Kane, that's what he's built to do.
And they have a shooter by the name of Gabe York on their roster.
Nice move inside. Takari Johnson just pulling his way to the bucket. Takari Johnson, hometown guy, coming home here to New York. Played in Montverde Academy this year, headed to Kentucky. Here's Walker facing up on Embiid. A little bit out of control that time. Stick back. Chris Walker.
Chris Walker is slowly going from prospect to player right now. Always had the ability, physical athleticism, gifted with tools, but he's always been potential, waiting to happen. Tonight, starting to come to fruition a little bit.
What makes the light bulb go on with these kids, and at what point?
Maybe they just see it's the end of his high school career, and he knows that he's going to be on a college campus in June, getting individual workouts with the strength and conditioning coach. His whole world is going to change in a couple of months.
Chris Walker plays the game like he's hacked off at the rim, is what he does.
Jefferson off glass.
I mean, Chris Walker will give Billy Donovan the luxury if Patrick Young, if the jump hook isn't falling for him, and his conditioning isn't where it needs to be, Chris Walker can easily step in with major minutes next year.
Jones draws the foul. Meanwhile, Jefferson getting a little work done, and good defense here. On ball defense, guys, tying up his soon-to-be teammate, Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, he's great on the ball. We call him the locksmith in high school. Just locks people up, throws away the key. His ability to guard point guards and centers makes him so valuable, Rondé Jefferson.
Gordon will learn you cannot dance with a basketball. And I think that's one of the biggest changes from high school to college, is doing what you did in high school with fewer dribbles. And every kid has to learn it, and it's not easy to do.
Efficiency, the key. And folks, don't miss this week's NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC. The Bulls taking on the Heat, team that snapped their winning streak. Coverage starts off with key NBA Countdown at 12:30 Sunday on ABC. And Derrick Rose still not playing for the Chicago Bulls. And the question that lingers has really played all this year for Chicago and Tom Thibodeau. Meanwhile, coming back the other way, East with Andrew Wiggins on the bench. Down by 1. Dakari Johnson pulling his way to the bucket again, missed it from close range.
You know, Paul, I think not only doing what you did in high school on fewer dribbles.
Harrison with the bank. Didn't mean to, but he'll take it. That's Andrew.
That's one thing from high school to college that's different. I'll tell you another thing from high school to college. For the first time, these guys will be told no in their life on the basketball court. No, I don't want you taking that shot. No, that effort's not good enough. No, you're not going hard enough. And some make that adjustment quicker than others. The other thing is your weakness will be exposed, and everyone has a weakness, and at the college level, doesn't matter where you go, it is going to get exposed in college.
Here's a look at all your keys to making that adjustment.
Well, on Jimmy's points, all aspects of defense, that's like a foreign language to these kids right now. So their first college practice, they're going to hear defensive concepts that they've never heard before. I think for the guards, the middle game, the floater, for the bigs, the low post, making a move with your back to the basket, Jimmy, I think is so important. Attention to detail, scouting reports, the physicality and the speed of the game. As great of athletes as these guys are, the speed of the game and the physicality at the college level is even greater.
Yeah. Williams-Goss driving, fouled on the way up. He'll get a chance to cash in on a couple of free throws.
Jonesy, you don't miss, at least you should not miss in recruiting on skill level and talent level. If your staff is missing in those areas, then you need to fire your staff and get other guys in there with other eyes. What you can miss on, though, is your motor. What you can miss on is how much drive this guy naturally have. Is he a self-starter? What kind of teammate is he when things aren't going well? What's his body language like on the bench with foul trouble? Those are the things that you sometimes don't see in recruiting that you can miss on.
Those are the traits that you have to find, though, in players. That's what separates
Absolutely.
the good ones from the great ones. You know what I say about recruiting? It's not who you get, but it's how you evaluate. Anybody can get bad talent, but you have to have the ability, as you said, Jimmy, the eyes to evaluate.
Sure. There's Andrew Harrison out top working against Williams-Goss. Wow. Harrison fouled, trying to make his way by Williams-Goss.
You like the defense, didn't you? I could tell.
I love the defense. Love the defense, and I was not in love with how much Andrew Harrison was dribbling that basketball. Before I got married, I had dates that didn't last that long. And he cannot. That's, again, doing what you did in high school with fewer dribbles.
And that's the #1 point guard in the nation, Andrew Harrison, against the #2 point guard, #3 point guard in the nation, I'm sorry, Nigel Williams-Goss. Casey Hill's at #2.
Ooh, Walker. Well, no wonder it was a great hesitation. Dribble, he carried it. Hey, Paul, I want to get back to the Harrison twins, and Jimmy touched on it a little bit. With them, was it always a package deal in the recruiting? I mean, them going to the same school?
Yes, they made it known since the day of birth.
That's pretty early to commit.
Yeah, they're going to go to school together. They had this plan, and that's where they were going to go. They wanted to be recruited together. A lot of guys want to be recruited separately in the process. They were absolutely a package deal. They're going to room together at Kentucky, and that's where they're most comfortable, being together.
Johnson inside. Put back no good by Embiid. And Harrison leaking out, and he slams it home. You know, just when I was starting to be able to tell Marcus and Markieff Morris from each other, now the Harrison twins come along, and a long jumper good. That's what Jones.
Yeah, that's what he does. Catch and shoot in transition. Great at coming off screen, spot up. It's going to open the floor next year for Duke.
Jones playing for his high school coach one last time, Chris Dyer, out of DeSoto, Texas. Whistle and a foul underneath. And the East, Marcus Lee will go to the free throw line. Pardon me, Jefferson will. Andrew Harrison going to the hoop. Pardon me, Aaron Harrison.
Welcome to my city, city, city. Yeah, it looks so pretty, pretty. Welcome to my city, city, city. Yeah, it looks so pretty, pretty. Welcome to my city, city, city. Yeah, it looks so pretty, pretty. Welcome to my city, city, city.
Well, you saw a shot of Michael Jordan. He was born in the borough of Brooklyn, New York. And he brings his game here in 2013. Quinn standing by with a special guest. Quinn?
That is Larry Miller, president of the Jordan brand, and our host. What was your reaction when you see this great crowd, all the VIPs from sport and music in the house tonight?
Well, it's been a great crowd. The reaction's been great. You know, we're excited to be here in Brooklyn. Our first year here, and it's been great working with the folks here in Brooklyn, with Brett Yormack and the team of people here. It's been great, and to see the fan reaction and all the folks who've come out to support us tonight, really a great event for us.
What is the importance of this basketball game to the Jordan brand?
Well, it's important because not only is it an opportunity for us to showcase some product, but it's also an opportunity for us to showcase some of the great young players that are coming up, and you know, players who are going to definitely be the guys of the future. And for us to have an opportunity to showcase some of those players, give them an opportunity to play in an environment like this, it's great for our brand.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
And Jefferson with a rather odd, Jimmy and Paul, shooting stroke from the free throw line. His stance.
See how wide his feet are as a free throw shooter? I'm sure that's something that Sean Miller will look at day one on campus.
Jabari Parker with a slick move inside. Jabari Parker, the number 2 prospect in 2013. And Paul, I'll ask you, how much difference is there between Wiggins and Parker as Wiggins missed the layup?
In terms of athletic ability, there's a big difference. I mean, Andrew Wiggins is an NBA athlete. Jabari Parker is the most complete offensive player in the high school game. His ability to score at 3 different levels, his versatility. When it comes to established skills, it's Jabari Parker. When it comes to athletic ability, it's Andrew Wiggins. Potential, it's Andrew Wiggins.
Wiggins missing the first foul shot. Look at Parker's last bucket here. Slick move against Wiggins.
He can score from all spots on the court, and I'm very impressed with how he keeps his body under control. He has terrific explosion and lift into his jump shot. He's going to have to stay on top of his conditioning. But he's a gem of a guy to talk to, a high grade point average, a guy that gets it. You talk about intangibles, he gets it.
He's a winner, 4-time state champion. How many guys do we all know that have been a 4-time state champion? And he's deceptively athletic.
I'll buy that. Yeah, I will.
I mean, a lot of guys look like athletes and not. Jabari Parker may not look like an athlete, but he is.
He was slowed down by an injury earlier this year. And really, late in the year, rounding into form, and Wiggins with the slam off the backdoor cut.
I see the explosiveness and the quickness and the potential of Andrew Wiggins. I get all that. I see how he would be ranked number 1 in this class. But I have also seen and written a general manager in the NBA was quoted this year as saying that Andrew Wiggins, if he was in the NBA this year, would be the Rookie of the Year. Have you seen Damian Lillard play?
I don't know about that.
I agree.
That GM might be fired.
I agree.
I talked to an NBA scout who said if he goes to an NBA team where there's no all-star in the small forward position, he'll start. Now that is more realistic.
Yes, start.
Andrew Wiggins will start if there's not an all-star at the small forward position. But getting back to Parker for a minute, if I have to play a game tomorrow, I'm taking Jabari Parker.
Really?
Absolutely. The ability to think the game and play the game simultaneously is second to none in this class.
Need the Morgan Wooten National Player of the Year, Jabari Parker. Is that correct?
Yeah. Troy Williams with the free throw.
Yes, yes, he is. No, he is.
Yeah.
Because of his academics, his character, and of course his basketball. I talked to Morgan Wooten about that. They are just in love with this young man, Jabari Parker.
Tyler Ennis with the bucket. And it's going to be playing for Jim Boeheim at Syracuse next year.
Fouls number 11, Casey Hill. His first.
Fouls against Casey Hill on the play.
Tyler Ennis has played on that Canadian under-19 national team. Now, I think he's a guy that's, to me, maybe quicker with the ball than without the ball. I don't think he has blazing burst about him, but understands different speeds with the ball.
He's fast when he needs to be fast.
Yeah.
He's quick when he needs to be quick. And Tyler Ennis is a tough kid.
Selden with the feed to Ennis underneath for the reverse layup. Ennis starting to cook a little bit. He's got 10 in the ball game.
I'm going to tell you why he's tough. He played in the NHSI with a sprained shoulder in the championship game and did not come out of the game, Jimmy. He took bumps, bangs. He was holding his right shoulder and stayed in the game.
Williams couldn't chase down the loose ball. It'll be East basketball. Certain Canadian content in this game tonight with Wiggins and Ennis. A couple of guys that have caught the eyes of the Canadian national team evaluators. And of course, Steve Nash now heading that program up, trying to get it back on the rails after several disappointing finishes in FIBA competition. Here's Wiggins. A little showtime, but drew the foul on the play. He'll go to the foul line for a pair. Jabari Parker came over and said, I'm not sure who got him on that. Well, the MLB on ESPN continues Sunday. The Orioles taking on the Yankees then at Monday 7. Phillies going against the Reds. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA. Wiggins knocks down the first, and CC Sabathia with the Yankees in attendance tonight. Good basketball fan.
You look at Wiggins on that free throw stripe. Just a really good-looking athlete. Has that shot, elbow at eye level on the release, snaps it off up top. A lot of things that you can see with Wiggins. The potential of that kid.
Casey Hill with the steal, gives it to Young.
His shot is not broke. He just needs to work on it.
No, not at all.
And the NBA is saying, look, we can work with him. Sure. We can get a shooting coach day and night to work with him. Actually, he has a good pull-up jump shot, but his best work is in the lane. I mean, he gets in the lane and he creates fouls. Watch this drive. He faces up, the hesitation, the spin. Creating fouls and driving is what Andrew Wiggins does best.
Casey Hill swallowed up by Meeks. 3-on-2, great pass. Inside the finish by Wiggins.
You go back to that last replay of Wiggins. Again, very unique for a kid 6'7" to have control over a very low, quick, tight, fast dribble. A lot of kids that tall, they're not used to handling that ball at a low level. Wiggins has that mastered.
On the break, Wiggins again.
And he doesn't have to go over you. He has great body control. We saw that on that last possession. He gets into the lane, stops at the finger roll. He understands how to use his body in midair. Again, Florida State, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Kansas.
Well, he'll have an opportunity one way or another to play for some fantastic coaches.
Tyler Ennis. His first.
Ennis with the dime that time.
Guys that are wired to score. They understand to get in the pipe in the middle third of the floor and run right to the rim, and Wiggins knows it well.
Yes, he's met the rim several times in his career.
You know, it's interesting. You look at Wiggins right now. Is he waiting to see who's leaving and who's coming back because he wants to go to the best team, knowing that I'm only going to be in college 1 year and what's my best chance to win a national championship? Is he waiting to see who's leaving because he wants to go somewhere and be the guy, be the standout guy? Are the emotional attachments to Florida State because of his family ultimately going to win out? I don't think anyone knows the answer to that right now.
He keeps it close to the vest.
Absolutely, he does.
He has said he wants to play with a good point guard. He wants to win. Style of play is important.
Parker on the slam. Parker. Not a lot of players win Mr. Basketball in Illinois as a junior, as Parker did.
And he was the Gatorade National Player of the Year as a junior, Jabari Parker.
And it's missing the three and tipped up and in.
But getting back to Wiggins, you know why he's waiting, Jimmy? Because he can.
Yes, he can. Absolutely.
And I think, my opinion is, I think he's waiting to see who he's going to play with. He'll be the man just about wherever he goes.
Young with the miss, rebounded by Lee, and Lee gets the stick back.
And Marcus Lee, he needs strength, but he can run, he can board, he can get blocks, he can pass the basketball. One of those kids going to Kentucky that right now on paper says the best recruiting class ever. I would at least like to wait and see them play a game together before I say absolutely it is the best class.
Out of high school they are, Jimmy.
Let's wait. Just like Wiggins, let's wait.
Tied at 67, 11:03 to go in the second half. Mark Jones courtside along with Paul Biancardi and Jimmy Dykes. Let's go courtside to Quinn.
We are with Jabari Parker, Chicago Simeon heading to Duke. How would you define being a winner? Everyone calls you a winner. How would you define being a winner?
I think hard work and dedication. I think that's what it takes to be a winner. You know, if you work harder than another team, then most likely you're going to pull out victories, and I've been blessed out in my career to do that.
You've been defined as having a pretty versatile skill set for a high school athlete. What area are you most focused on improving now as you head towards Duke?
Probably getting myself in shape and, you know, the body movement more acclimated to a 2 or a 3 because I want to be an overall player. I know in high school I'm used to playing the block, so I'm just trying to, you know, be more open.
What aspect of attending Duke has you most excited right now?
The education. It's unbelievable that, you know, I'm an African-American male out of my community. Going to a real prestigious university is real big time for me.
Thanks, Jabari. Continued success. Mark.
Tell you what, that couldn't have been any more eloquently stated than Jabari Parker did just there. A young man with a great sense of being able to express himself concisely there. Duke getting a couple of very good ones.
And you heard the words out of his mouth, the ability to win and the ability to work. You know, Jabari Parker, he practices like he's never won, and he plays the game like he's never lost. Great self-confidence, a work ethic, the ultimate winner.
Harrison with the miss. Williams-Goss's pass, kick ball to get a reset. 25 seconds on the shot clock.
I look at college basketball next year. It's not really crystal clear who I would throw up there as #1 right now. I think I would go with Kentucky because you're not going to be able to ignore the talent that John Calipari is going to be able to put on the floor at all 5 spots.
As Dakari Johnson will be there.
And you back that up with the return of Poitras and Wilcher and Willie Cauley-Stein, where I think Willie Cauley-Stein will continue to start at that 5 spot. The other 4 spots I think are going to be open to the best player. And we're probably seeing those guys on the floor tonight. I think Kentucky will open up as the preseason #1 next year. Right behind them, Michigan State, I think, is going to be in the conversation. I think Arizona's going to be up there. Duke's got a chance to be there. North Carolina, depending on what Andrew Wiggins does.
Well, one thing we learned about Kentucky, guys, this year is that sometimes having the #1 recruiting class doesn't always equate to big-time success in the tournament.
But part of that lack of success is they didn't have a big-time point guard. You need that.
One more look at that breakaway and great acceleration and rise.
Another team that I think is going to be very good next year is Louisville. I mean, I know they lose Peyton Siva, but they come in with a junior college point guard by the name of Chris Jones. He was a one-time commit to Tennessee and Bruce Pearl. He can take over as a point guard. They also have Anton Gill, Terry Rozier. They're going to have a strong team again next year.
Did you look at my notes before the game? Look right down there, #4, Louisville. See there? You and I think the same thing. You're right about that point guard coming in. Duke and North Carolina. I tell you what, right below that level right there, I see Florida. I see Marquette. Coach Williams got a lot of guys back. UConn, depending on what Napier does, a lot of pieces back there as well. But those would be the 5, 6 teams I think that all of us will have our eyes on next fall.
Saw a little video. Jones played for Steve Forbes, as you mentioned, at Northwest Florida State. Great program down there. And get to the JUCO National Final. 73-69, the East with a 4-point lead. Just past the midway point here in the second half, Williams-Goss. I'll tell you what, the West has really picked up the defensive intensity here, guys. Walker gets it out.
That might have been the halftime adjustment.
Is that what it was? Wasn't that half-court trap that Jimmy was talking about or anything else?
The matchup zone, the pack line defense matchup zone.
Harrison gets tripped up by Embiid. Not looking too pleased about it. These guys, well, you saw the McDonald's game. You were there. You saw these guys. They do this game, and there's quite a circuit that these guys. And what's the emotional toll like that it takes, and even physically that it takes on these guys?
Well, they play all summer long, sometimes 2 and 3 games a day. They travel all over the country. I'd like to see guys honestly stay home a little bit more and work on their skill as opposed to just playing multiple games per day. When you talk about Joel Embiid, no one's improved as much as he has in 1 year in the senior class.
That foul against Aaron Harrison, his 4th foul.
Guys, in the last minute, Julius Randle has gone to another level. He has dominated this game. 3 or 4 plays just in the last 60 to 70 seconds.
Williams-Goss with the floater over Harrison.
Goss has that understanding that he can't get to the rim, so he uses and utilizes the floater. A lot of guards don't have that from high school because they get to the rim so much and so often. They have to work on the 1-foot floater, the runner, 2-foot jump stop.
Aaron Harrison, tough pass inside. Out of bounds, they turn it over. Jefferson had no shot at catching that. And the West now with a chance to cut the lead to 2.
I think Aaron Harrison's going to be one of the best 3-point shooters that John Calipari has ever recruited. Memphis, UMass, Kentucky.
Here's my guy again. He's all over the place right now. He's alive. He's alert defensively.
Boy, he wanted Embiid again, didn't he?
He sure did.
That was a rerun of the little confrontation they had in midair and mid-flight. Now, early in the first half.
Randle is a quick learner, though, because he knew if he just went with a straight, take the ball back and cock it and go at the rim, then Embiid was going to throw it out. So watch what he does at the end of this play. I'm going to get into your body, boom, and make sure that you don't throw that thing out this time. This kid, the last 2 minutes, has caught my eye. Absolutely. You can see why he's a pro in the making.
Averaged 14 points and 6 rebounds playing for USA Basketball's under-18 team. Won gold at the World Championships, and that's another thing about a lot of these guys, Paul and Jimmy. They're entrenched in USA Basketball's program, and the mentality is to try and take it as far as they can, and perhaps represent their country at the highest level with the senior men's team at some point.
And have an opportunity to compete against the best players in the world at their age. Nigel Williams-Goss with a 3. But talking about Julius Randle, I really think he's an X factor for Kentucky. I mean, think about the decision he made with all the talent there. He says, you know what, I want to go there because I want to win. And he knows he's going to play. Reminds me a little bit of Terrence Jones.
Yeah, but you know what? A better offensive guy than Terrence Jones, what I've seen so far.
And Matt Jones with an and 1 now coming up. And a chance for the West to take the lead. When we come back, we'll talk about the intangibles and Joel Embiid on the other side. Stick around. Radio City Music Hall. Part of New York, the city of glow at night. Tied at 76 here back in Brooklyn. Across the bridge, and don't miss this week's NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC. Rematch of the game that ended Miami's historic streak. Second longest in NBA history. LeBron and the Heat taking on Boozer and the Bulls. Coverage starts with the NBA Countdown at 12:30 Sunday on ABC. And we were talking about LeBron a little bit earlier, his improvement, shooting 40% from downtown this year, guys. And speaking of improvement, what about the improvement of Joel Embiid this year?
A natural shot blocker with a jump hook and a jump shot. A year ago, he was a backup at Mount Verde Academy. A year later, he's headed to Kansas to play for Bill Self. The most potential of any center in the senior class.
He has a spirit about him. He's gonna take hard coaching. You can tell this kid no, and he looks in the eyes and said, yes, sir, and goes to work. I think this is interesting. 2 years ago, this was the class ranking for James Michael McAdoo was 6th overall. Adonis Thomas was 9th. Mike Kabongo was 11th. They have really not played up to what their high school ranking was coming out. On the right side of that screen, Ben McLemore was ranked 49th. Trey Burke was ranked 84th. Otto Porter's ranked 42nd coming out of high school. So what was the difference? I think McLemore, Burke, Porter, those guys, they've had the intangibles about them. Look where Porter is right now, even compared to McAdoo. Look where McLemore is compared to Adonis Thomas. Trey Burke compared to Kabongo. It's night and day, and those intangibles that we talked about earlier. Are you going to take hard coaching? Are you going to, fight through or fight back when the coach says that's not what I want? It's those things right there that I think take you from, are you really a top 10 guy, and are you going to stay a top 10 guy?
They have to make adjustments in their game, and
Absolutely.
that's what McLemore and Porter did. Now, some of those guys didn't play that well in high school, and then they blossomed when they got to college. There's all different factors why those things happen, who you play with, who graduated. You look at James Michael McAdoo. His first year, played with 4 first-round NBA players. His second year at North Carolina, he played with a young team. So it's a little bit different each and every year. But to your point, Jimmy, it's all about the traits. That's what equals success.
Absolutely. Williams-Goss double teamed by Ennis. Ennis comes up with a rip. Drive by Williams-Goss and Tyler Ennis with the layup. Playing with perhaps a little bit something to prove here. He was bypassed for the McDonald's All-American game. Tyler Ennis putting in a good night's work here as his East team leads by 1. Casey Hill, he might have lost the handle on that and is still winning.
How important is it for a kid his size to have a floater, though, when he gets downhill? You cut down your scoring chances by 25% if you don't have that shot in your arsenal for a small guard.
I'm going to say he shot it down. I'm not going to say that he lost it. Foul's going to go against Zachary Johnson.
Watch Tyler Ennis here, the change of speed. He's not a jet right here. He's going to kind of lull you to sleep. And boom, lowers his hips, the blow by. Well done.
Played for St. Benedict's High School in New Jersey. His head coach, Mark Taylor, is on the bench as an assistant coach for the East squad.
Older brother played at Villanova this past season. He's missing the free throw. Got his own rebound. Muscled it up, got it blocked. Portis missed, tipped up and in by Wiggins.
And that's the second and third jump we talk about. Nobody has that type of second and third jump quickness in this entire class. Maybe in college basketball, I'm not sure, Jimmy, than Andrew Wiggins.
Johnson blocked and fouled on the play. Going to go against Bobby Portis.
His third. I mean, he gets up high, he gets up quick, and he gets up often. He's got great length as well at 6'7" and broad shoulders. It's a very good offensive rebounder. He is a good offensive player. He just has to learn how to become a better shooter.
Yep. And again, does he want to dominate every possession? Does he want to dominate every game? And that's not a knock against him. That's just something that he's going to have to learn to embrace, because that's what he's capable of being. A lot of guys aren't capable of being the alpha dog. 22 in black is.
6:06 to go. And what do you know, after all this, guys, we've got a 1-point game. As for some of the areas of improvement that you guys have alluded to, there's a look at 3 of them.
And Jimmy was talking about the third one, basically staying engaged throughout the possession, play hard all the time. The game comes easy to Andrew Wiggins, and sometimes, naturally, he just takes the possession off. I don't think he means to. I think when he gets coached at the college level, that will change, as you know and I know. And Mark knows that college coaches, they want you to play the entire possession, and that's where it's going to change for Andrew Wiggins at the college level, staying engaged in the play.
Wiggins so far tonight, 6 of 9 from the field, 15 points. The highest score in the game.
Well, for the most part, everything's right at the rim with this guy. He has really good timing and his hands around the rim. He can finish with, the right and the left. He's done it, and that's a hard play to make. He makes it look easy, but the quick bounce, bam, bam, back to back with back-to-back left hands. not easy to do.
One other thing he really needs to understand as he gets moving on in the college level and beyond is getting open without the basketball. You know, guys just hand him the ball right now, they clear out. He's going to have to learn how to move without the ball to free himself to get good looks. He's got a lot to work on for someone who's the #1 player in the country. But all these guys do. They all have holes and areas of growth that they need to pay attention to.
Out of bounds, it'll stay West basketball. A little over 6 minutes to go. Aaron Gordon to inbound. There's Casey Hill, headed to Florida next year. On the lob, a little bit short for Gordon. Never had a chance, really.
You got to throw it high at Aaron Gordon. You can throw it up by the shot clock. He'll go get it.
Portis on the drive, blocked by Dakari Johnson. And Gordon out of luck again. The outlet pass a little bit too far.
You know, Bobby Portis had his shot blocked that last time going to Arkansas. Guy has a really strong motor, though. 6'9" kid that's going to get a ton of rebounds and protect the back of the press and the pressure for Mike Anderson next year for Arkansas.
They lose a couple people next year, right?
Well, yeah. Well, they lose B.J. Young and Marshawn Powell, both guys going early. I'm not convinced those are the best decisions for either one of those two guys. I don't think they're NBA ready, but Portis gives Mike Anderson the ability to really pressure like he wants to with a guy that can protect that rim for him.
Well, Julius Randle going to work here, fouled by Embiid. Julius Randle, you mentioned it, Jimmy. He's found that second and even third gear here in the second half. Ball.
When he wants to dominate the game, you notice he gets closer to the basket. When he starts dancing with the basketball or settling for jump shots, that's not his game. He stays inside the gates of the paint. It's hard to stop him one-on-one because he's quick, he's explosive, he has skill and power.
What makes fours like him and fives like him sometimes want to face up and prove they can shoot jump shots?
Because everybody wants to be what they're not.
Look at this kid. I'm telling you,
he is dominating.
That's what he is.
Started 7 or 8 minutes ago. You can almost see his eyes that he's saying, you know what? I think I can take this thing over. And he'll be able to do that next year for John Calipari early in his career. Like day 1 early.
I'm picking him on my team in pickup games right away.
Absolutely. Harrison to Harrison. The Twins teaming up. Randle got it blocked by Embiid. Great hustle by Harrison. Knocked it out of bounds. It'll be West basketball.
Well, sometimes the other guy just makes a better play like Embiid did blocking the shot. But watch Randle. Misses the free throw. And he's going to, again, wire to score. Has a nose for where the ball's going to go and just goes and gets it. He's 6'9" and a true 230 pounds and in terrific condition and has a lot of pop around the rim. That's hard to guard.
Yeah, the great thing is that he got out of the state of Texas without having to play football, right? For basketball people.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon with a series of moves.
A lot of guys have athletic ability. Julius Randle has skill to go along with it.
Ennis lobs it up. And Harrison slams it home. And another punch at the other end. That was James Young.
James Young can get you buckets is what James Young can do. He's another guy that he made a couple of threes in the first half. He's 6'6", long arms.
Randle fouled by Embiid.
And we're talking about Julius Randle, James Young. Julius Randle has that alpha dog mentality where he's going to take over, he's going to dominate. He'll win games on the road for John Calipari next year because he's tough mentally and physically.
There's the lob for Harrison. Aaron Harrison. James Young, who's also headed to Kentucky. 6 future Wildcat players on the court tonight.
Kentucky did not have a Julius Randle this year. They didn't have that size guy. Nerlens Noel was an alpha dog as well, and he was the toughest guy that was starting to drag his team along when he went out with the ACL. But this kid has that same mental inner drive, toughness, strength about him that you have to have, especially at a place like Kentucky where you're going to be the guy from day 1.
Casey Hill just knocked down that 3 and did the 3 signs of the dome pointing at Carmelo Anthony courtside, and Carmelo got a kick out of it. 2-point ball game. East with the lead as we wind it down under 4 minutes. Randle got ripped by Jabari Parker. It's a 3-on-1, and Parker punches it home.
Parker from
Tied at 86.
We talked about Kentucky's #1 recruiting class, maybe the best of all time. Beside talent and athletic ability, Jimmy, it's a competitive group. The Harrisons are competitive kids. Randall's an alpha dog. It's a strong group.
And this year's freshman class at Kentucky was not. It was not. And this one coming in is going to reset that bar.
Timeout on the floor when we come back. One thing about the Big Blue Nation, folks, they travel pretty well. From Lexington to Brooklyn. East, West tied at 86. And a look at tonight's top plays. Let's go courtside to Quinn. Quinn? Okay, well, guess we're not going to go to Quint right now.
Saw a lot of dunks on that highlight film, but we also saw, I think it was a backdoor. Kennedy Meeks with a backdoor pass. Was there an overplay defensively to make that happen?
I'm still stunned at Julius Randle at this point. Looking at him out there right in front of us right now thinking, how did you scheme for him in high school basketball this year in the state of Texas? That is a grown man.
Embiid couldn't convert on the alley-oop from Casey Hill.
Watch out.
There's Randle.
He's got a lot of gas in the tank. He didn't get a chance to play his senior year because of a stretch fracture.
He's ready to eat now. Playing hungry. Gordon with a nice feed. Embiid got blocked by Randle and fouled in the process.
Those two guys have not backed down. Neither one has given an inch in this game. Embiid sent an early message to Randle, and Randle said, okay, we'll keep going at it. And these two guys, wow. One of them is a power guy at 6'9", 230, and Embiid is a 7-footer with a long wingspan and the quick ups. Major impacts next year. One at Kansas, one at Kentucky.
I was talking to Julius the other day at practice, and I said, how'd you get through that difficult time with the stress fracture, not being able to play? He said his mom raised him. Carolyn Kyles, you know, she taught him tough love, academics, and respect. She said, she always made me feel like we had something when we had nothing.
How about that?
And that's a mother's love.
Embiid knocks down the second free throw, and we're tied at 88 with 3:02 to go.
Embiid going to Kansas. Talked to Bill Self yesterday. He was out in Los Angeles receiving the John Wooden Award, the Legends of Coaching Award. So congratulations to Bill Self. Well deserved.
Wiggins got ripped. Great hustle. Here's Gordon. And Ennis got the steal. Harrison off the glass. And Ennis couldn't get the elevator to go to the top floor that time.
I think he was in the way of Randle. I don't think that was for Ennis.
And Randle said, hey, you owe me one, bro.
Good use of the timeout, though, because the game had gotten crazy. Look at this. The 6'2" point guard trailer.
He gave it a good run.
He did.
There's a look at the first steal. And then the mad scramble that ensued. The steal by Randle. And he was supposed to be on the other end of this.
Randle saying, Ennis, come on, man. You're a guard. You're 6'2". I'm 6'9", 220.
Hey, the MLB on ESPN continues Sunday night baseball. 8 Orioles, Yankees. Then Monday, Phillies, Reds. Sunday night baseball presented by Taco Bell. And Monday night baseball. How does Randle fit in to the guys that Kentucky has on the front line next year? You got Cauley Stein, and
how do the guys in Kentucky fit in with him?
That's a great.
That's a better question.
Yeah, good point.
I think Willie Cauley Stein will probably lock down that starting 5 position.
Wilcher,
and this kid will be right beside him at the 4 spot.
What about Wilcher?
No, he's not those two guys level.
Okay.
Now Wilcher is a very valuable player offensively, I think. And you know what? For those kids coming back, Corey Thriss, Wilcher, and Willie Cauley Stein, older doesn't make you better. Better makes you better, and those 3 guys have to go to work because this class coming in now could take all 5 starting spots if they're not careful.
Now think about this. Alex Poitras, head-to-head in practice every day with Julius Randle. Somebody's going to play, and somebody's going to get better. There's nobody like him in the program.
Or somebody's going to sit.
Casey Hill going to go to the foul line and shoot a couple of free throws.
A lot of good point guards in this year's class. A couple of them here today. Casey Hill, terrific. Andrew Harrison. Steve Lavin got a good one.
Got a great one.
Thursday night. Rashid Johnson, right? Top 20, 25 player.
Are we in New York?
We're in New York.
Brooklyn.
Got to talk about St. John's.
Well, that's where he's going. It's not easy to get a kid out of Philadelphia, a big 6'4" point guard, to say no to Temple and UCLA, and Steve Lavin got it done, bringing the kid to St. John's.
Look at the top 5 point guards.
There's Rashid down there at the bottom. Good get by Lav and his staff.
Rashid Jordan, as you mentioned, Jimmy, 6'4", physical, a tremendous playmaker. He has the ability to be a pass-first point guard or a scoring point guard, and a heck of a defender. I mean, he likes to lock down. He'll play with Phil Green, Jamal Branch. That's a great perimeter for Steve Lavin.
Marcus Lee fouling Julius Randle, who will go back to the free throw line. 1-point ball game, West with the lead, and I'm going to say it now, guys, and if we get to overtime, I guess we just do. We'll play 3 minutes, no timeouts. But Randle looking like he wants to put an end to this one in regulation, although he misses there. Jumper good.
Matt Jones going to Duke.
Wiggins missing. Randle with the follow. Wow. Randle might have designs on that MVP award here, the way that he's playing. He's the early leader. He's got 17. Look at him run the floor. Ennis on the break. He ends up with the layup. Tell you what, they have released the racehorses now.
Playground style right now, guys.
I feel like I'm watching a tennis game.
Right now they're running the set play Jimmy called Do 'em.
Inside Wiggins with the easy deuce off the nice feed from Harrison. Casey Hill, great handle. And here comes Harrison. Wiggins with the slam. And with 1 minute to go, it's a 2-point game.
Coach is trying to get a timeout. Lee with a tough bank shot. Okay. All right.
James Young goes glass.
Hey, they've gone at each other now, haven't they? Effort-wise?
Yep. Well, we talked about the Harrison twins, Andrew and Aaron, teaming up tonight. They'll take their skills to Kentucky as well to play for Coach Calipari.
Is there a more high-profile position in college basketball right now than the point guard spot at Kentucky? And the bar got lowered last year, and it has been re-raised this next year by Andrew Harrison.
I mean, they went from losing in the first round of the NIT Kentucky to being your preseason and a lot of people's preseason #1 team. Yep. That's pressure, but that's why they went to Kentucky, for the pressure, for the coaching of John Calipari, and the ability to win a national championship.
If you don't like that pressure, don't go to Kentucky.
Not for everybody.
No, not for everybody. And John Calipari tells guys that. Those two kids, hard to judge off of one all-star game, but you can just see their size, the pace they play with, their ability to snap it off as jump shooters. Smart kids.
And good defenders. We talk about their offensive skills. Both guys at 6'5", 200 pounds plus. You know, they can get in the stance and defend you, keep you out of the lane, rebound down as big guards.
If John Calipari ever wanted to play a 2-3 zone,
this is the year.
Next year might be the year to put that thing in.
All right, tied at 96. What do we run here, Jimmy Dykes? Put your coach's hat back on for me for one possession.
You run horns up top. You let Andrew Harrison Reed make the right play.
He goes to Randle.
And the right play is giving the ball to that guy.
Randle turned it over. Williams-Goss should have an easy one. Harrison almost got the block, but it's an and one.
This guy always makes game-winning plays. Nigel Williams-Goss headed to Washington.
Chance to complete the three-point play. Harrison a little perturbed by the result.
They got too organized offensively. Went to a horn set, and then everything just broke down. They bit her off, just spread the floor and keep him making plays. But boy, this kid attacked the basketball, took contact, didn't knock him off of his path.
He was in good help position, wasn't he?
He was.
In the Jordan Brand Classic.
Williams-Goss makes it a three-point advantage for the West. Who's the best three-point shooter out here? You go to
Harrison.
Aaron Harrison?
No question about it. Yeah. If you can run him off one screen, a little pin down, get him a wide open shot.
His twins got the ball up top. Ennis for the tie. Missed it. Back out, they'll have another shot.
Do you foul if you're up three?
Plenty of time. Wiggins stepped out of bounds. Oh my.
Referee felt bad calling.
He did.
He looked over, he goes, I'm sorry.
He might want to leave early. Tipped out of bounds. That was tipped by Wiggins. Wiggins got a piece of that. It's still West basketball.
That looked like a double tip to me. I think they're going to overrule it.
Now, there is no go to the monitor in the last minute, but in the Jordan Brand Classic.
Next year in college basketball, I think you will be able to go to the monitor under the last minute to see who it went out of bounds off of. This is a perfect example of it. That conversation will be on the table this summer.
It'll be a great rule change. Just under 10 seconds to go. They got to get it in bounds here. And Jones fouled immediately by Ennis. So Matt Jones will go to the free throw line. That's the guy that you want going to the foul line out of DeSoto, Texas. And Julius Randle headed to Kentucky next year out of Dallas, Texas. 6'9" power forward is our Jordan Brand Classic co-player of the game along with Jabari Parker, who's taken his talents to Durham, North Carolina next year to play for Duke.
Jabari Parker was also Mr. Basketball in the state of Illinois as a junior. First time ever.
How good are our guys that set the ratings on these kids? The number 2 guy in the class is one MVP. The number 3 guy in the class is the other. Who does that for us?
Well, that's because I just voted on those two.
Well done, Paul Biancardi and crew.
He and Dave Tellett, they are dialed in more than anyone in the planet, as you said in the open, of games of high school basketball.
1.5 to go. Randall got the bucket off glass. Makes it a 2-point game. And don't forget, coming up next, college softball. It'll be number 13 Washington taking on number 2 Arizona State from Tempe, Arizona. Tell you what, looking at Randall and his success this year, Paul, Jimmy, the state of Texas is really loaded basketball-wise now, isn't it?
Really is. The Harrison twins, Julius Randle, Keith Frazier, top 50 recruit, just committed to Larry Brown at SMU. And last year you had Isaiah Austin at Baylor, could possibly go in the NBA draft. It's not just a football state. The commitment to basketball has gotten stronger because there's more summer league and AAU basketball programs to showcase these kids, and schools are going to go in and recruit.
You see things like that happening a little bit in my home state of Florida. We got 2 Florida guys in this game as well, Casey Hill and Walker.
The state of Texas needs to do a better job of keeping all those dudes within their state, because think about this. No team from Texas this year made it to the NCAA tournament. That's crazy.
1.5 to go. East needs a steal big time, and they're not going to get it. Williams-Goss with 0.4 to go will head back to the free throw line, and appropriate that it would be Nigel Williams-Goss making a couple of big plays down the stretch here for the West team, and potentially to put this one on ice. He's got to make both to make it a 2-possession game.
So when you think about Nigel Williams-Goss in the last 30 seconds, potentially a game-winning steal, game-winning free throws.
Williams-Goss makes it a 3-point game.
In the middle of the free throw, Jabari Parker and Matt Jones just went over and said hello to Carmelo Anthony.
And Casey Hill just did the same.
I'm going to do the same thing after the game. Right.
Well, we get him in the media room after. That's a 4-point game. This one is cooked, glazed, and sliced. The West will win it 102-98. And what a show for some of the future stars at the next level. Jabari Parker. putting on a good show tonight. The West winning it by 4. Coming up next, college softball, Washington taking on Arizona State from Tempe, Arizona. For Paul Biancardo, Quinn Kesnick, and Jimmy Dykes, I'm Mark Jones. Right now, we send it out to Arizona.